Good morning to all of you. We in Haifa have a special model to deal with the IT education system. We are responsible for the hardware, which means computers, laptop, netbooks, communication systems and networks, all the multimedia, the service itself, software systems, IT systems like learning management systems, support system, portal, content, and also we are responsible for the deployment and the training of the whole system, including the software. We have a special training center, and teachers come to our premises for to improve the way they use the tools, our tools. Okay. The question was, what can be done? And when I tried to answer what can be done, I went backward to 2009. 2009, there was a committee in Melbourne, Australia, Melbourne University in Australia. They called themselves ATC 21S, Assessment and Teaching of the 21st Century Skills. This committee was sponsored by three giant industries: Cisco, Intel, and Microsoft. See here? And the question was, what should the employee in the 21st century, what should the employee looks like? What are the skills of this employee? So the question was, what kind of employee they want? And then we go backward to the education system. And they said, first, ways of living. We want the employee to be in independent learning. We want to be able to communicate and to collaborate in teams that are very flexible. You know, in high tech, we can change our environment every 6 months, year, and we go to different technology, different environment, different people, ways of living. And then ways of thinking, creativity, innovation. The question is how to teach creativity. So do we want a creativity employee? Critical thinking, problem solving, and very important, metacognition, which means how to learn, how to define my way of what should I study, how to design it, how to evaluate if I did it well or not. So these are the two pillars. And then they came to the solution. The way how to do it, how to achieve it, is through computer information literacy, which means how can I look for data? How can I find the data and assess the data and create data and share the data? And in order to do it, we need computers. We need ICT, information and communication. What?
It's obvious because those guys make computers.
Of course, it's obvious. So if we want to, what can be done, if we want to achieve ways of thinking, ways of living, the big question is the solution, the answer is our computers, which I doubt it, because there are many other ways how to achieve ways of thinking and ways of living.
Just to clarify, this is for what ages are we talking about?
Ages?
All ages.
This is for the employees, and the Ministry of Education adopted it to the education system. This is for the employees. Okay? So if I had to present only one slide here, this is the slide. Anyhow, my goal is to improve the learning, teaching, and assessment process. This is what the Education Ministry tell me. Prepare an environment to improve the learning and teaching and the assessment process. This is the main goal of the Education Ministry of Education. And that's why we have to develop innovative and learning environments. And this is what we do. I want to give you an example, short example, what one of our middle school, what do they use, which is very impressive. Blocks, digital boards, online questionnaires, social networks, thinking maps, okay, electronic maps, and everybody puts his thought on the map. Collaborative workspace, like we have OneDrive or Google Docs, and presentation. We even use comics, digital books, which means it's very relevant to the children world. All of it is encapsulated, is the envelope. We have a portal for each school, virtual spaces for each classroom, virtual spaces for each profession teacher, and we have learning management systems like Moodle, like Google Classroom, okay, interactive maps. So we can see many advantages. The first one is relevant to the children. The second is it is really an innovative environment for the development of the 21st century skills. We can very easily access to the latest information. We are able to learn anywhere, anyhow, at home, in the courtyard, even it's very important in Haifa to be able to learn in emergency time. And it helps the teacher to do the tedious work, like filling these tables, how many students came to the class, and so on and so forth. But in order to do it, we need communication. There are also disadvantages, because we are dependent on the equipment. All of us know that if we go and search for data in the internet, we may not be focused. We go from one subject, and easily we can shift to other subjects. No equal technological resources at home. Some students, some pupils do not have computers at home, do not have all the facilities at home, are not connected to the internet, especially in Haifa, which is a very heterogenical town. Bullying, shaming, how to deal with it. And the big question, does it guarantee independent thinking? Which I'm not really sure. Because, people just go directly to Wikipedia, cut, paste, and this is the answer. Is the teaching level necessarily improved? I know, I can tell you for sure that in elementary school, if I come to classes, nobody knows what happened in the class after the teacher closed the door. When I open the door, many times I can see the teacher just a clip from YouTube, and this is the class. So it is very easy. The way they teach today is much more easy for them. We talked day before yesterday about digital dementia. Do we still need to memorize? Some people say no. The data is there, so don't try to make any effort to remember. And we might be exposed to radiation. And this is the main disadvantage. And another question that I ask myself, when should we start? In the kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school? Our Ministry of Education, they put the figure here to elementary school. And all the effort is in the elementary school. My answer, I'm not, I came from 30 years in the high-tech industry. So I'm like a new board. And after diving into it, my conclusion is that the best start point is in middle school. But only this year, the Education Ministry started thinking about what should we do in the middle school. Because it's very easy to put a computer and laptops and netbooks in elementary school and play with very basic software. So my recommendation And this is what we try to do in Haifa, to put a lot of effort in middle school. And I can tell you another thing, which I checked. If I take, there are many elementary school, few middle and high school. So usually from 4 or 5 elementary school, they go to the same middle school. And I checked. Take a child from one elementary school, which has a lot of computers, networks, Wi-Fi, netbooks, and take another guy, another child from elementary school that didn't put this, is not focused on computers and internet in elementary school. And what are their levels? What is the level when they enter the middle school? Can we see the difference? I asked the teacher, I asked the principals, can you identify who came from which school? And the answer is no. So we put a lot of effort and maybe risk, you may say, in elementary school when the main results in middle school are almost the same. And it's very important that if middle school is far behind and elementary school is very advanced, we don't keep continuity, so everything is going, we are losing everything. I want to add a few questions. So where is the wireless in school environment? So actually in every school we have 2 networks. One is executive network for the secretaries and principals, and the other is pedagogical network. So actually, most of our labs, all our labs actually, are wire-lined. And in some very few classes, the wireless is, the access point is within the classroom, and it is a subnet of the local area network. So it just in the classroom and not in corridors or open spaces. So in this way, if we have to deploy wireless, in this way we try to minimize the radiation. By the way, we don't have many classes like this in Haifa.
What percent?
Percent, I can tell you. We have in Haifa 45 elementary schools. We have Wi-Fi in 6 schools. Not all classes, but in 6 schools. We have 15 high schools and middle schools. We have 2 middle schools with Wi-Fi.
2 out of how many?
2 out of 15. 2 middle schools. No, and happen to be no Wi-Fi in high schools.
No Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi in high school in Haifa.
High schools are all wired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's good. When you're saying how wired, you're talking about laboratories or the classes that the children are learning?
Okay. In high schools, they don't use laptops, netbooks, so only laboratories. Middle school, we have 1 middle school, Katom program from Weitzman, that the parents buy the laptops, and then there we have 5 schools, 5 classes inside the wireless. Okay.
How typical is
But let me
Haifa
continue
schools?
with his talk, please.
What?
And we'll have
Okay.
questions after.
Now, what is the equipment that we use? We use quite expensive equipment, and it has 3 main characteristics. The first one is we have a central controller from our office, our premises. We have a central controller that we can control every access point. And we decided, together with the principals, elementary schools, only 1 hour a day. So we can open it from our premises only 1 hour a day for class. And they are happy. We have a passive beacon or passive beam scanning. So whenever we don't have a request for Wi-Fi, then we don't open it. The access point is quiet, and it is MIMO. You know, MIMO means usually home wireless is like we have an antenna and half hemisphere of the energy. Now, in this access point, we have 128 antennas, and we switch it electronically, so the beam is direct to the client and not radiate the neighbors. And when I chose this equipment, I was very happy. I said, okay, the equipment is fantastic. So if we look at the standards, okay, the FCC says to me 1,000 radiation microwatt for square centimeters. And the Israeli Environment Ministry, they said, okay, for closed areas, use between 50 to 100. And when I talked to the parents, they said, okay, one microwatt for square centimeter. And when we measure 0.1. So I said, okay, it's fine. It's 10,000 beneath the standard. But is this relevant? Is this relevant? So later on, I realized that it might not be relevant because we measure the access point. We don't measure what actually happened, and the main radiation is from the transmitters of the child with his laptop, the one who is behind him, in front of him, and to the sides. We measure, what do we actually measure? What is this, what is the actually happen in the class? With the class has bursts, and we have iron in the walls. So actually, this energy, where does it go, and what does it do? And then Amir told me, okay, look at the sample rate of the measuring equipment. Okay, what is the sample? What do we actually measure? The average, peaks? So we don't know. That's the reason why we got this figure, which makes us originally very happy. Today we are not sure that we know how to measure it. When I talk with principals, this is the way I convince them not to put Wi-Fi in schools, in classes, especially in elementary schools. And this is very important, this is so. I tell them about the precaution principle and say, okay, we have a CISO. On one side, there is the risk, which is behavioral risk, social risk, health risk, even education disadvantages. And on the other side, we have some advantages which we don't really know. So those principles were very serious, and after they come to me and they want some advice, they say, okay, we go back, we can do advanced learning without Wi-Fi in the classes. Those who want to do marketing of the school and market the school, they don't care. Still, we try to, there is a lot of pressure from principals to be attractive, because there is a race, between schools. Every school is open. Everybody can register her son, daughter to any school. So they want to be attractive. So say, okay, we have Wi-Fi, we have laptops, we have netbooks. So this is the way I convince them. And what is more important is that I'm responsible. Not the Ministry of Health, not Education Ministry, not Environmental Ministry. I'm responsible. So if later on there will be a problem, it is my fault. That's why we try to push it back, and it's not easy. Okay, I want to jump. Okay, what did we do? One class looks like this. We have a partition within the class. It works. It is wireline. Okay, the partition is about 80 centimeters, 1 meter. It works. The teacher says it is not so convenient, but it works. Another class that we deployed is this kind of, because as I said, not all, it's only 1 hour a day. So they use it this way and they are happy. They say, okay, the results are very good. Labs, of course, the tables are fixed to the floor. Okay. The main problem is that we have a constraint. We have to keep the class flexible. So in the labs, it's quite easy. We fix the tables to the floor. There is another idea that I get from Gideon about puts in different places on the walls. So whenever they want to use the internet, they can shift the tables and connect to the wire line. And I'm sure there are many other options. What a recommendation? First of all, information. Information, and I saw the brochures that you gave us. Very important. We don't have enough information. The education ministry does not deliver any or enough material which is attractive to give the teachers, the parents.
Also the health ministry.
We found out that if we come to a school and we say, okay, let's a treaty, amana, okay, that everybody should sign. They take it very seriously. So we develop a treaty that we want to, from next year, to deliver in every school, and every teacher, every child will have to sign that they understand and what are the risks using it. We develop a program. Okay. We developed a program. We had a conference in a town last June, and we developed together with Haifa Bay Environmental Organization. We developed a program, and we thought, okay, nice, let's register to this program. So in Haifa, we have 4,000 teachers. How many register to this program? 20. Only 20. So a lot of work is in front of us. Blended learning, of course. Of course, as I said, only 1 hour at most a day for internet. So blended learning is a very important principle. I went to Tel Aviv, Tichonet, paperless school. Digital books, digital, everything is digital. No papers. No. So we still believe that handwriting is not just mechanical work. It is also developing structures and the way we think. The way we have to organize it. Prevention, not in front of a big crowd, but one-on-one. And I spend a lot of time to meet with every principal and explain. And when we meet, they say, okay, we understand, we don't want. Of course, use wired internet. Thank you.
No. We have questions. We have questions now.
לחזור ל...
Yes.
Hi. Reuven, one of the things you didn't talk about is closing the gap. Lots of the societies say, well, a tablet for every child is going to bring up the bottom to some kind of equal level. Theodora sent me stuff when we were writing the school proposal. this seems to have failed across the board. It hasn't done anything to do that. Has this been talked about and discussed in the Haifa forum?
I checked the tablets. If it is, let's put it this way. First there was a computer, and then the education said, okay, what can we do with it? First there was a tablet, and then what can we do? It's not that we have our requirements, education requirements, and then we develop the tool for the education. It is upside down. So when I checked the tablet, I said, this is not an education tool, and there are no tablets in Haifa. We didn't buy any tablet. No tablets.
I wanted to ask about policy for kids bringing phones to school, using phones during school breaks.
Wait, we need to get the microphone for the questions. Where is that? No. We have a second microphone in the room. We're supposed to have it.
I think everyone's set up. Did you get it?
We can yell.
No, it's not a question of that. We're actually trying to record this because there are thousands of people around the world that want to know what we're talking about. So just bear with us a moment. I'm sure we'll have it. Right. Okay? And if you'll take it, if you don't mind, Chuck, would you mind just to repeat, Chuck and Tamar, because we really do want to get this recorded. It's very important what you're doing and what we're saying here.
Yeah. In Israel and many other countries, the concept of something like a tablet or a computer for every kid is going to close the social gap. Have you discussed this in Haifa? Has there been a problem there, or are you looking at it?
Yeah. Oh, I have this. I have the mic.
Okay, turn it on. Okay, thank you. You want to answer that, or let Tamar make her comment? Tamar, you ask your question, and then he can answer.
So this is very impressive in terms of reducing exposure of the children to wireless networks. My question was about if there's any policy on the kids bringing phones to school, restrictions on use of phones during school time, at breaks.
There is a clear policy from the Education Ministry that they should not bring it to school, and when they bring it to school, it should be closed. But it's very hard to compel it. How to do it? So that's the reason why I said the treaty. So in this treaty, it is clear, and the child sign on it, and then we can. He is obliged to do it. Now, elementary school is easy. What we see in high school, it's like they don't listen. During the class, yes, and what is? I entered one school, and the teacher wanted to take the phone, the iPhone from the child, and they almost got beat and kicked, and it's very easy to teach in high school. It's very difficult. So
Yeah. Just one more question, if I can ask, just as a concerned parent from Modi'in. Has there been any efforts to? This program is very impressive, to spread it to other cities in Israel. Is there any discussion between the different municipalities, or this is very specific to Haifa?
Not really. Not really. We don't share knowledge and meet together. There were few municipalities that called me and asked for our advice on what actually we do. I don't know what happened. Yesterday I talked with Rishon LeZion. They have totally different approach. They put Wi-Fi in every school, every class.
And she is with the Federal Ministry of Education. Is that who Rachel is?
Federal?
No,
the
Rishon LeZion. City.
So
And
my question, which is related, if I will stand next to you, I can do this, has to do with the authority here. You have national, or the Ministry of Education, you are saying, wants every child to have a device. And is there any discussion at this point? And I guess that's one of the recommendations that can come out of this meeting as well. What you're saying is that you have determined that the benefits are not worth the risks. That's what you're telling us, basically.
Absolutely, yeah.
That you think that, but I want to be clear, we want our children to know how to use computers. Computers, it's absolutely the wave of the future, But wireless is the question, not, and so I want to make sure I understand something. You're not saying children should only use computers 1 hour a day, or are you saying?
It's school. It's school.
At,
And
okay.
Let's look.
Please clarify
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
We should define what is the role of elementary school. Elementary school is not just use computers. Elementary school, we have to work on social skills, behavioral skills. We have to keep whatever was proven as good, and not just change, because when we change so fast and we don't keep what was proven as good, then we lose everything. So it's all a question of how many hours a day, and even in school, we should dedicate to computers.
So
And I said, when we take two children, two pupils, one that was full of computers and the other no computers at school at all, when they come to middle school, we cannot differentiate between them because they have at home. They know what to do. They are very, this is not,
Yes.
and when I look in the computers lessons, for example, I've been in English teaching, and they want to do it in PowerPoint. The teacher said doesn't know PowerPoint, so most of the time they spend on the technical issues in PowerPoint and not how to teach English. So there's a lot of methodology behind it, and we train them. And this is a long run, how to train the teacher to use it correctly, smartly, and as a blended learning.
I would like to mention the smartphone issues, Tamar, what you asked. Like, we're not allowed the children to smoke at school because we know smoking is dangerous, and they would like to smoke. I was smoking at the age of 13 or 14 years old, you know, in school, and we don't allow the children smoking. So we should avoid, together with the principal school, together with the parents, to give them the information how dangerous it is to use cell phone, and when children are coming to the school, they should put the smartphone away, turned off. So it's a matter of education and information that we should give to the parents, to the principal schools, to the teacher, and about the risk using a smartphone.
Peter, do you have a comment? Do you want to pass the microphone? No? I mean, I think I can see that you don't agree.
I want to answer you, Tamar, to complete. I want to complete the answer, and I want to complete the answer to Tamar about the other municipalities, not Haifa. There is a big psychology effect that they spend a lot of money to deploy Wi-Fi in schools. Now, if I come to them and say, okay, you throw money, this money is for nothing. Say, okay, we spend so much money, how can you tell us don't use it now?
Well, perhaps I'm going to really invite you to make comments, so I want to think about it. Stella?
Okay. Thank you very much for this presentation, and really I would like to congratulate Haifa municipality for this.
Okay, go ahead.
So, for this initiative. I didn't understand well, maybe it's my fault. What is the link of municipality with the Ministry of Education, and especially in relation to this school treaty, which is very important issue? I would really like to have, even afterwards, some more information of what it would be the content of this treaty. But to be applied this treaty, I mean, you don't need the consensus or the approval or whatever from the Ministry of Education. How you deal, because it's very, very important. Thank you very much.
And let me add to that. So you don't need the approval of the national government to do this.
No.
And when you say a school treaty, I want to expand, if I may. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that parents have a treaty with their children about an agreed upon policy for using devices, so that, for example, they sit down to dinner without everybody looking at their device. And they have recommended that when children come home from school, they be given a certain amount of time that they can do things, and then it's recommended that they have to put their device to the parents at night, so the children are not sleeping with their phone, they're not on their phones at all hours. But the most recent survey for the Pew Foundation in the United States found that children are spending more time on their devices than they are in school or sleeping. And this is, of course, a problem a social problem. And I think what I was impressed with when we met in Haifa, and you explained to me your reasons for this, you've said, look, children need to learn social skills. They need to learn how to work with one another. They need to learn how to look people in the eye. They need to learn how to think independently. And if they think that all information comes from Google or that all information comes from the internet, they will not know how to survive when they don't have these tools, which can, in fact, happen. And problem solving, basic problem solving, I think that's what you're concerned about. But I'm sure that there's tremendous pushback from the industry on this, especially because Haifa is in a high-tech area. And I would like to hear, what is some of that pushback, and how do you respond when people say, you're depriving our children of the ability to be citizens? Netizens is the term. You're depriving them of that ability. What do you say?
I said, I spend a lot of time with the principals, talking with parents, and trying to explain what are the disadvantages and actually what should we go for. Not always I succeed. Not always I succeed, but mostly when it is one-on-one, as I said, then I can convince.
Okay. We have time. Amir has one comment, and then we must move to Richard, who is going to share with us some thoughts, because he unfortunately has to leave for a teaching commitment, and we want to get the benefit of his wisdom before he does that. But Amir, if you could.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you on the presentation of making things clearer about what's happening in Haifa. There's a huge interest of that in all over the world. I say it in my blogs. When I write about Haifa municipality, what's happening in your court, many people read it, and many people comment to that. And my feeling is that you did a giant step in the right direction. It's not totally wired. There are Wi-Fi inside, but it's so much better where I'm living and in other municipalities. And I'm also feeling, and if it's not comfortable for you to answer, don't. I'm also feeling that you're getting a lot of pressure and heat because you did the right thing, but it's not the thing that others want you to do up in the Ministry of Education and also maybe in industry.
Also in my organization, of course, there is a lot of pressure. There is political pressure. There is a pressure that comes from not misunderstanding or not enough information, not enough data. So it's true. Sometimes I feel alone in this activity, but and I need more information in every level. It should be from health ministry, environmental ministry, education ministry. I gave up.
You can give up also from the health ministry.
Well, now wait a minute. We need to move on, but I will tell you, when Sigal Sadetsky saw the results of the National Toxicology Program, she told me children cannot have mobile phones in schools for educational purposes. She said that, and I believe that that is on their website. Now, I'm not an expert in Hebrew and what their website may or may not say. I know because you took me, I met with your education person, and we discussed at that point. I gave you a briefing on the National Toxicology Program. I think it was in May or June, right after it came out, within a week or so. And the woman was shocked. She looked,
Yeah.
she looked absolutely like I dropped a bomb. And she said, well, then we cannot expose our children. We cannot expose our children to something that has been shown to cause cancer like this in animals.
And what about Wi-Fi?
And, you know, that's a bigger struggle, as you are well aware, okay? But I think, let's hear from Richard Laster now. I think we...
This is tremendous what you're doing in Haifa, and you're talking about needing more information and so on, and actually the way you have your small area different from comparable areas in Israel may represent some kind of research opportunity to generate that knowledge. So you're really, you know, breaking the way in terms of your actions, and you might actually have an opportunity to accumulate the knowledge that would be needed to justify your actions and to justify other people doing the same kinds of good things that you're doing. Just wanted to throw that out.
So I'm here to cooperate with all of you.